Welcome, everybody. We're live with episode 2, season 3, to Sit Down. A little bit of a new look. I think we had some of Bay Area's worst music playing to start the show. We got some very accomplished sneaker guests from the world of the internets. Probably one of the best writers I've ever encountered. Nick Engvall of Complex fame, who joins me tonight, and kind of to help move the show along. We got the glasses and the jig master, Dallas Penn. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for a great week. Corgi was great on the show last week, and we hope to bring you more just different guests and great stories. What I want to do with the show this season is just tell stories, and the one thing that I really like about the hobby is the stories. That everybody has stories, and some people's stories are bullshit and some people's stories are real, but the stories that people can tell, and I'm hoping tonight that we tell you some really good ones with Nick, as Dallas and I go back with Nick a while, and he's been in the game so long that he can really kind of paint some interesting pictures from a bunch of different perspectives. So Nick and Dallas, welcome to the Sit Down.
Thank you.
Peace, Don Drew. Peace, Nick.
What's good, man? What's good, Dallas?
Shit ain't shit. Shit, just trying to stay fly out here in this cold, cruel world. It don't ever stop.
Dallas Penn with the struggle internet and the Ron Jeremy 70s mustache.
I told you, I'm a black dude. Okay, we don't have no printers in the crib. We don't do nothing unless if a black dude has a printer in his crib, just know that he's doing some kind of credit card scam shit. All right. But the iPad, thankfully, the iPad got me on to sit down tonight. Good to be here with y'all. Nick, what up, Nick? Nick,
what up? What up?
It's good, brother.
Man, chilling. Glad to be on. I don't know. I told Drew it's going to be tough to follow Corgi. I mean, I don't know if there's been more anticipation for one man being on any kind of sneaker-related anything like that. So it was definitely a good one. I definitely appreciated checking it out. So
he did a great job, and knowing Corgi a little bit and talking to him probably every day. It was nice that you guys, the viewers, got to see Corgi articulate and express himself the way I'm used to seeing him all the time, because sometimes guys talk a whole lot and then they get here and they don't say shit. And right. He didn't do that. He said everything, and it was real good. And I think we're going to continue that tonight because you got a lot to say as well. And I want to jump into it. What got me with Nick and the kind of the golden era of Complex, and I want to start there, and we'll bounce around your history a little bit and what you're working on now. But it was you and Joe LaPuma and Brandon and Russ, and being a fan of Complex, I don't think there's ever been a better time for Complex sneakers than when you guys were at the helm. Why don't you start a little bit of what that was like?
I definitely appreciate that. It's that's quite a compliment, because there's definitely been some serious people roll through those Complex doors. You have a lot to live up to going into that position and experience. And for me, I just kind of, I don't know, I'd always kind of been in the sneaker thing, and the opportunity came about. I kind of had in my mind that I wanted to move to New York for a while and have that experience. And I mean, Russ they started looking for somebody, and Russ hit me up, I think through Twitter even, just DM'd me and was like, hey, we're going to hire somebody. If you're seriously down to move to New York, then we could probably just hire you. And it kind of just snowballed from there and turned into one of the best experiences in my life, for sure.
What were you doing before that?
At that time, so I guess for me, going back, like I started officially working in the sneaker thing with Nice Kicks back in like 2007, 2008, I believe. I actually lived in Austin, Texas, for about a year, and after that, ended up like moving back to California and worked for Soul Collector for quite a while, and helped Eastbay set up their blog from the very beginning. That was kind of my big project with Soul Collector. And then that kind of spun into, I actually helped Foot Locker start up Sneakerpedia, which was, kind of a cool, I thought it was a cool concept to just be like, put something out there. Yeah, of course, the community needs the backing and the money of a Foot Locker to make something like that happen. But it was one of those things where you could just upload your kicks, talk shit with people, and meet new people, especially because it was Europe and it was the US. So that's actually what I was doing like right before I started with Complex and moved to New York, actually.
So you worked for all the major blogs. You worked for Nice Kicks. You worked for Complex. You worked for not Sneaker News, Soul Collector. My bad. So let me ask you this. About 5 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, it was only Nice Kicks.
Yeah.
It was Nice Kicks and everybody else. Now, I don't even know. And maybe am I wrong to say that maybe they're not top 5? They're not what they were.
They definitely aren't what they used to be. But I will say that like in the last probably, there's a lot of backstory behind that too. And like obviously I've known all those guys for a long time. I'm actually in Austin right now, which I'll probably connect with George and Ian. Those guys are like my brothers, and no matter how long it goes, like they're just always good dudes. We're always going to be really like great friends. But I think with Nice Kicks now, they've kind of come back around where you have Nick DiPaula, you have George, you have Sid, you have Ian, you have all the guys. Greg, Peter was there back in the day, but like all those guys now are kind of back. Not all of them back, but I would say like they have the right people in place to really take it to whatever level they want. It's just a matter of everything aligning. And I think that's kind of, that like they almost have too much stuff going on because they have so many video series, so much web stuff, but at the same time, like, that's kind of what all of this, and kind of what you said, like, that's kind of what all this sneaker stuff has become now. It's like, it's so massive where, like 6-7 years ago, it was only Nice Kicks. And it was like, okay, well, Kicks on Fire is here. Sneaker News is here. Complex Sneakers then was really only the magazine, like this was, back then it was even, there was like not much going on. But I think it's kind of like how in the last 2 years, YouTube in the sneaker community has become huge, or even like podcasts, like there's a handful of podcasts that have kind of come and gone, or maybe, which I think is kind of a testament to what you've done with the sit down, like that consistency and saying, hey, we're going to be here. We're going to make this happen. A lot of people don't understand. And, like, I know like you guys have probably worked on projects where it's like, I've done it. It's like, oh man, I'm so stoked to do this. But 6 months into it, I don't have a life and I'm not getting paid enough to pay my bills off of that passion of mine. So I've got to figure out something else to make it work. And that's kind of like your partnership. Was it with would you have Power 105 or something like that?
Yeah. We that's exactly what it was. It just the commitment to get there every week was just it wasn't worth it. I'd rather do this.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand about what I've done and what you've done and what everyone tries to do. Like, and I'm not knocking anybody for trying and sticking their neck out there and saying, hey, this is something I want to do. But it takes a year or two of sticking your neck out there and saying, this is what I want to do, and really committing to it to make it something that's successful. And I think most people can't figure out how to continue that and also get the support of the people around them, because just as well as I do, there's a lot of people that will say, man, I got your back, I support you. But when it comes down to it, like, where are you, kind of? And that's no shots on anybody. It's just we all have our lives, we all get busy, and that's the nature of the internet nowadays.
Sometimes somebody that creates something great also is the reason that it fails.
Oh yeah.
And Matt Halfill created Nice Kicks and grew it to be the biggest and best. And was it him stepping away that's going to make it successful? Is Matt the reason why it was great, but also the reason why it's not great anymore?
I don't think that it's specifically Matt. I think, like, you know, he and I butted heads a lot. We've butted heads a lot over the years, and that's just because we're both very passionate about it, you know, and we've you know, kind of come and gone from even, you know, like being on a talking basis. But with Nice Kicks, you know, like when it started, when I actually came down here to Austin, which I'm here right now, but like visiting, but like when I came down here to Austin, I remember George Keel and I sitting at lunch, just like dumbfounded, like, yo, we're getting paid to talk about sneakers, you know, like really, like, what is, like, if you realize in that moment and have that appreciation, and your background in the footwear business especially can attest to what that will do. And I think that as Nice Kicks has progressed, it's kind of come and gone from that. You know, you've had people that come in and maybe don't appreciate it as much, and that kind of holds back the rest of the people. It's the same thing that I kind of run into with, like, Finish Line, for instance. You know, you run into where, okay, well, if you just, like, don't get me wrong, money's important. I got to eat. You got to eat. Everybody's got to get paid. But, like, it's also one of those things where I think, like, as long as people can see past the egos, then you can really get somewhere. And with Matt and with myself, like, I definitely, I wouldn't say that I'm, like, stuck up and arrogant about things, but I definitely have a personality that will rub you the wrong way in that setting where, like, if I've had success with something, you know, whether it be at Complex or Soul Collector or Nice Kicks or East Bay or wherever, it's like, well, let's not break the formula. If it's working, let's use it and build upon that formula, not go a completely different direction. And, you know, like, sometimes when you have multiple people like that, where, you know, like I said, with Matt and I, we have that where, okay, well, it's his thing and I wanted to be involved in it. And I got so excited about it that I probably pushed him in ways that he was not comfortable with, because back in the day, like, you know, it was a new thing to him, and he's grown his business incredibly, and they've done some incredible things. But we all start somewhere, and I did the same thing. Like, I probably didn't appreciate some of the people that I worked with along the way, or even give them enough of a voice in the situation, you know? And it's ironic because I see that in the same thing where at Finish Line, for instance, I'm coming at it and I'm running into the same thing that I would get frustrated with on the other side. And I probably did that same thing to people, which, you know, that's just, you know, growing and learning from your experiences and your mistakes, really.
So,
yo, shouts to Matt Halfill. I got my exclusive Matt Halfill 11s right here. Matt made these with his own hands. Matt made these with his own hands in his basement in Austin. Matt, big up. That's my dude.
Okay.
He made those with his own hands, for real. I watched them.
Oh, man.
Well, there's that. Getting back on track, that's why we have Dallas Penn here for moments like that. That was the whole genius behind putting him on the show. Anyways, Nick, one of the things that used to rile up the sneaker social medias the most was the lists at Complex. Did you guys put out a list and intentionally leave people off and say, let's watch this asshole get mad, or let's watch this person go wild? Because I remember people, I think I've even been there crying over those lists.
No, I mean, we never intentionally left anyone off or like, you know, even like put certain people down lower than others. Like, I think that we legitimately, you know, like, you know, myself, Brandon, Joe, Russ, we're all very opinionated about those things and we're all very passionate about it. But what made it great is we all came from such a different niche and a different point of view. You know, like, I'm not a fashionable, stylish guy, like, you know, compared to a Joe LaPuma, a
or a
Brandon
Dallas
Edler,
Penn.
or a Dallas Penn. Like, you know, like, my polo game is not on that level. Like, I just sit back and admire the Instagram, you know, but
The
like
outfit architecture.
yeah, but that's what I thought was so beautiful about it, and I think that's what made, even outside of sneakers, Complex like does a really good job of bringing in different people, and inevitably when you do that, you're never going to make everyone happy. And for me, like with the sneaker list, you know, like it was never like, you know, like, I mean, if you think about it, a list of like, you know, we did some pretty large lists back then too, where it was like 30, 40, 50, hundreds, you know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, doing the 100 best Air Force One or the 100 best dunks, like, yo, I'm gonna fuck it up. Like, there's no way I can have, like, no two people will have the same opinion. So even like with smaller lists though, you know, like you have guys that are very passionate about it, you know, like I might see something that, you know, a Packer Shoes is doing that, you know, Russ might see it and say, well, Packer's doing it, but Extra Butter is doing it this way. Or Joe might see it and say, well, what about Kith? And Brandon might see it and say, you know, what about this? And what about that? And I think that back and forth, we always, you know, you create those lists and it's a group effort. And, you know, even when it's one person's name on it, the conversation that we all had was so open and so good is that, you know,
I think
everybody was involved in the ideation and the conversation to get, we're intentional to lead someone on. We good?
I think we're good. You put out some lists that, I mean, they just really caused all kinds of chaos on the internet and would get guys in their feelings. I remember, you know, kind of the rise of sneaker Twitter, if you will, I feel like really came about because of those lists, top 25 sneaker people to follow on Twitter or on Instagram and all of that. So as the originator, the king of lists, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick and give me 3 real quick off the top of your head. I'm going to start rattling them off. Give me your top 3 Instagram accounts to follow for sneakers real quick.
Man, boy, I don't even know. I actually, I like the old stuff. So there's a guy, Cali Vegas. He's an old school, just a very like knowledgeable, like has stuff that you just don't see, stuff that where he owns a pair of Atonics that was taken by Atonic to remake a shoe, like that kind of stuff. He's definitely one of the top, in my opinion. I hate the idea, but I like the idea of like the big aggregated kind of person, because I get to see a lot of people, the sneaker shouts and those types of things, because it's reposted stuff. And frankly, I can't look at as many people as I would like to probably on there. What else is there? Honestly, like I try not to follow brands or people that are selling stuff, because I just don't want to. It's like you see it everywhere. You see a Jordan or you see whatever. So obviously Corgi is kind of on the other side of that, where there's just random stuff coming from him that makes it interesting.
What about the 3 most overrated Instagram accounts? Like the three that, like, I don't know why so many people follow this guy.
I'll give you the number one most overrated. That's Funkmaster Flex.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
The master of lugs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say on those same lines, I think DJ Khaled is the most corny, overrated dude. And when I saw him on Sneaker Shopping with Joe the other day, I just shook my head. Like, he is the biggest cornball, the biggest fraud, the king of I say I was there, not I was actually there.
Yeah, he's probably the top for me. Although, like, it's one of those things. Like, I think him on the shopping thing with Joe was entertaining. Him stunting on Instagram all the time, like making up names for shoes. Like, it's okay to make up those names and stuff. Like, we all kind of do that. But, like, I think people pointed out in the comments on that YouTube, he's calling the same things from shoes that he talked about on Nice Kicks, a year ago or whatever. And
right,
to me, that's kind of what you're saying, where it's just like you kind of see right through it, where it's just like a big, and that's the problem with sneakers now, is that it's become such a big deal to be seeded by Jordan or to get whatever's limited for all these celebrities, not just the people that have been into sneakers for a long time, but like the celebrities just get, it's like there was,
that was a problem 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always a problem. And I mean, really, celebs, whatever they're good at, maybe they're good at acting, maybe they're good at rapping, and that's really what they're good at, but they're not good at knowing what a sneaker is.
Yeah.
I mean, they see a Jordan Jumpman and everything is a Jordan. Whether it's a retro, whether it's a Flight 45, whatever it is, for them it's a Jordan. So celebs talking sneakers is always like womp womp. Except when you get like a Victor Cruz, except when you get somebody who I feel like, okay, who can I mention now? That's a celebrity that likes sneakers. I don't know. I don't really like celebrities talking about sneakers. Like, talk about the chick you're banging.
Yeah. But you have a guy like, if you take it, a celebrity that comes to mind is like Fat Joe. Obviously, the guy has been into shoes for a long time.
Yep.
And I think that's the screwed up part about it, and it's kind of an interesting story. But like, back in the day when I was at Nice Kicks, Big Boy got spotted wearing some fake fives. And the internet kind of went crazy about it, as much as the internet could have gone crazy in 2007, 2008, whenever that was. But it's one of those things where once you get to a certain level as an entertainer, you have people around you supporting you and buying your shoes. Like, you see a hot pair of shoes and you're like, yo, man, I got to get those.
Right.
If those people around you aren't on the same level as you as when it comes to that love for sneakers or whatever it is, and I'm sure like it's probably even worse with like some of the polo stuff that you collect and you're into, Dallas. It's just, if you don't have very like-minded people around you, you're the face of that. So you're the one that gets screwed out of it, regardless of whether you intended it to be a fake pair of shoes or not.
Give Drake all the credit for that 180-degree turn from wearing those fake suede grapes to now having.
I think he was saying now having his own shoe with the OVO 10, Dallas Penn with the real super struggle internet on his iPad. Nick, you mentioned some of the finish line stuff earlier. I think we could go there now. I don't know that there's an organization that stymies creativity more than them. I want to talk about that, but before we get to that, what retailers are doing it right, and where do you think they went wrong?
It's tough because I think you have I think you have kind of two different worlds. You have like the independent, kind of smaller, like boutique style approach. Like the Undefeateds, the Kith, the Extra Butter, Packer Shoes type stores, Sneaker Politics, and then you have like the kind of the big box wannabes, and then you have the true big box, which I would say like the top big boxes, Foot Locker, Foot Action, Champs, obviously all the same company, Finish Line, and then you kind of have like that second tier where people don't look at them as like a big retailer. You have like the Villas, the Shoe Palace, the Chic, DTLR, those kind of stores. And I think as far as what they do good, part of what I have to respect about how Finish Line got to where it is that infrastructure. Like if you were to throw a Kith or an Undefeated into that massive distribution and all of that, they would probably struggle for years.
I'm going to end up doing a sit down by myself tonight.
To the level that a Finish Line is, or a Foot Locker. Oh, did I lose you?
For a second, yeah. But keep going, Nick. Keep going.
But I think that, like you said about the creativity, I think that I don't think that's exclusive to Finish Line by any means. I think that's, people getting into a career or a job that they're comfortable with and not caring enough other than to just get the paycheck. And that really hurts everyone around you, and like there's guys in a sneaker thing that, have done this for so long where they've kind of gotten comfortable and gotten, to a place where they might not have that same passion. But, for me, like I'm always trying to look at it as like, look, if this person sits down next to me and is excited about it, I have to recognize that first and foremost over their knowledge of sneakers, their, credit that they've written, where they've written, anything that, you're measuring that conversation when, you and I could probably sit and bullshit about sneakers for days straight and just back and forth. And that's what you gotta acknowledge that passion. And I think that's where a lot of these companies struggle. And I think there's places where like Foot Locker with the Victor Cruz stuff, that partnership is amazing because they really give him a little bit more freedom to kind of figure things out. Yeah, it's cool. It's Cruise Day Tuesday is very simple, very like it's not like, this genius idea. It's just like, hey, let's just do this and we'll figure it out. But then it turns into other things. It turns into, oh wow, he's all over the place. He's doing his own shoe. He's doing his own podcast. And now Foot Locker has been in a relationship with him. So everybody has that in their mind. Well, like, like if the Cruz shoe isn't available at Foot Locker, something's wrong, like that should happen. But I think like, I think Villa does a really good job at like reaching for that higher level and still maintaining a very small business feel, like it's, Dame does a really good job over there of just keeping it simple enough, but still striving to be and pushing to grow and all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Dame is probably the best one out there doing it right now.
Yeah. And I think like with with smaller stores, obviously the way Ronnie and always going after new things, that's an exhausting. Most people don't have the resolve, stick-to-itiveness to really go after that for so long, and I think most people don't realize like how long he's been putting in work, like, and so that kind of thing on a smaller, couple stores level is impressive to me. A lot of stores, I coming from, like Northern California, someplace like Huff was like a place that I would go to every chance I got. I would be in the city going to Huff, and that business turned completely 360 degrees. So it's definitely like to see companies that stick to it, and like cool, like you might not make the most money doing that, but you're doing something that represents, like with Kith, it's come to represent a lot about New York. It's like Flight Club has come to represent New York in a sense that I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to stop at those places just because I need to say that I was there and I need to check it out. And I admire that about those places. And I think that's where the struggle for a Foot Locker, a Finish Line, any company that's spread out so much, they don't give enough control to the people at the store level or at the local level to really be successful and feel like us. As much as it's sad to say, it's kind of like everyone hates Starbucks, right? But the two things that Starbucks does exceptionally well that I have to respect about them is that they're always consistent. You could go into any Starbucks and it's a cool community, in my opinion. So that to me is kind of a cool thing. And I think the sneaker world needs to take that approach really from like the big box perspective.
When you and I were at Finish Line, we were in two completely different spectrums, and I was the bridge between digital and stores, and I ran stores on the East Coast, and you were content out in Boulder, and we had slight overlap, but you really dealt more with the e-com than I did. And I think the biggest knock on Finish Line that I see, besides the fact that the business has just what they did to the experience for the customer is a shame. But you
don't fuck with the Circle Awards?
Nah, I don't fuck with the Circle Awards. I know. I mean, listen, you're gonna do anything for a discount, Dallas. We already know that. You're the jig master. We already know. But Nick, where I was going was when you're in digital and you guys have a big release and you got guys out there that their credit cards are being charged 5 and 6 and 10 times and they can't purchase one shoe, and you voice it up. What happens? Why is it still a problem? It's been a problem for 5 years.
I think that's just, people at Finish Line that are making those decisions and determining how important that is are at a level where their only real concern is the bottom line. Like it's money. And sure, like you have, how many people every weekend that have that problem, and it's voiced every time it happens. It's voiced. I mean, it doesn't go unnoticed. It just goes unaddressed. And that was one of my frustrations, and I know it's frustrating for some of the people that are still there. It's something that I can't feel good working for a company that doesn't address that, because a lot of what sneakers is too is it's a young kid. I mean, if I was 18, 19 years old and you took $200-$300 out of my account, you would have fucked me for a couple of weeks at least. And I think that's the problem, is like that really, it falls kind of on deaf ears. And, I think that some people get it there, but I think that most people don't think that it's big enough problem, because the way that it appears the weekend we're trying to buy something or whatever that is, that it's always happening. It's like you said, it's been happening for 5 years, and I really don't know who or how they're going to address that, but just as well as I do, they know that it's a problem.
The thing that used to make me irate about it was that the mantra is customer first, but it's the customer last, really. They don't really give a shit about the customer. Yeah. And it used to drive me crazy. I know it drove you crazy. And I think it's really disappointing. And they're the only retailer that has this problem on Saturday mornings. The only one. Listen, everyone's site goes wild when there's a big release. Everyone's site. But they're the only ones that are essentially taking millions of dollars from customers across the country, holding them and then letting them go back.
Yeah, and on the digital side of that, working in it, the process to change that is a much bigger component to the whole big picture than just fixing it. Like you're talking about supply chain, you're talking about the way that everything goes in and the way everything is the numbers are crunched through the system and all that. It seems simple to like say this is an issue, we could solve it, but when the picture is a giant puzzle and you're talking about these 10 pieces that just need to be fixed, well, the people that have been there for a long time are looking at it as like, well, we can't just take 10 pieces out of this puzzle because then we don't have the full supply chain thing happening, So it's definitely something that I think is, like needs to be addressed. I also think that it's something that, like I remember when I first started there with like Brandon Edler and I even brought up to people to bring in like, like Shopify or something like that, through like Andy Oliver, because, that experience is better, but it's just such a big thing to get a company that's been doing something and built this whole infrastructure around one element, that to change that one element, I just don't think that people have an understanding of how to do that. So.
Yo, I think there's some funny comments in the in the Twitter feed right now. A lot of them about Dallas's internet. I think there was one calling Dallas Penn Sinbad. Nick, one of the things that
first of all though, shout out to any black person with red hair. Shout out to all the black gingers out there. All right, black gingers right now, stand up. I am slightly gingerish.
Dallas, one thing that that came up earlier, my favorite Complex writer Matt Welty brought it up, was he wanted you to have the NT Denim conversation with me and Nick. What's going on?
My man Sean Price really got me to change my pants look. One time, rest in peace to Sean, man, but he said, "Yo, Dallas, why are you wearing Big Daddy jeans?" And it was said in a joke, but the shit kind of hurt my feelings. And I was like, "Yo, I gotta change my jeans right now. I gotta get into Balmain. How am I gonna do that? Cocaine." I mean, I had to lose a lot of weight. All right, so cocaine. I would have did that lap surgery shit, but low pain threshold wasn't really my thing. Cocaine was what I did, So now I can get into I can get into extra medium jeans, and I'm wearing them. Like jeans that's like thongs on you. So
I can't wear being a little on the girthy side myself. I can't wear the tight leg jeans, man.
Yeah, as my friend Justin Solo on Twitter would say, that's not big boy approved. Like I can't get into the extra medium. Like I carry a little too much. I like eating too much.
I mean, even if you're girthy, you just gotta tuck in. Just gotta tuck in certain places.
So we're supposed to walk around sucked in the gut?
Suck, tuck, fold it up. Do what you gotta do, Drew. Come on. Put them tight jeans on. Stop playing. Put them joggers on.
Come on, man.
Put them tech fleece on, Drew. You can do it.
I'm not doing it.
Size medium.
I'll wear joggers when Ronnie carries 3X at Kith. Never happening. I can't even fit my right leg into that. I can't do it. What's going on with you, Dallas? What's going on over there? What kind of posters you got back there, man?
We're super struggle right now with this internet connection, but fuck it. We're on though. All right. VH1 Hip Hop Honors. That was Tribe Called Quest right there. Not Menudo. Tribe Called Quest. And that was Missy Elliott. She got honored too. I forget what I did with the Houdini poster. I probably put that one in my bedroom. Probably got that one somewhere tucked away. Old nigga shit in the crib. You know, y'all don't want to do a tour of the crib right now. Y'all don't want to do that.
A tour of your crib? We would love to. What are you talking about? Bring it around. Let's see what's going on over there.
All right, well, fuck it. Let's do a quick.
What are you kidding me?
Let's do a quick tour.
This is the sit-down episode of Cribs featuring Dallas Penn.
All right, boom. We got a little bookshelf right here holding the frames in there. You got some hats, some frames going on there via Oakley. Little hats up there. You know, got my Beanie Baby right there. Inspiration. Okay. Now let's go into the dining room.
Jeez.
Okay. Dining room. Decor by my wife. Okay. Some sneaker boxes over there to be mailed out and whatnot.
The crutches.
Crutches, yep. Crutches, of course. Crutches with sneakers on them, because how else you gonna do it if you're doing it with crutches? All right. Wham! Hold on for a second. The media center, extra small TV. I've been criticized for that right there. I don't really watch television. I watch shit on the internet. So forgive me for having a small TV. And then my little section here in the
He's got toys.
Yeah, toys and shit. You know, unicorn. You gotta have a unicorn just to make sure that the shit is right.
What the fuck does he have a unicorn for?
And then I got a fucking ninja right here. Don't have me activate this ninja. All right, if I send this ninja out on some of y'all, you know it's gonna be lights out. So that's my little ninja in a bottle I keep right there, just for any fucktard that I gotta have killed. That's about it. It's real low key. Oh, y'all want to go fuck with the sneakers? I know y'all want to fuck with the sneakers, right? Of course, everybody wants to fuck with the sneakers. Sneakers and shit. Okay, sneakers and shit. There's sneakers and shit. All right, sneakers and shit. Come on, y'all. Enough about Dallas Penn, though. Enough about Dallas Penn. More about the business of sneaker consumption right now. And frankly, have we fucking plateaued? Have we plateaued? I mean, I love Jordan, all right, but I feel like we've plateaued right now. That we're making lows of all kinds of J's. Why? Why are we doing this? Have we just plateaued in creativity for sneakers now? We're still not at my ultimate tipping point for kicks, internets. And that's when I open up a box of Nike Air, and inside that box is nothing but some air packaged from Portland. Dallas,
some of the comments say Dallas got that extra Costco foil paper roll up for Web Connect.
No, I tell them I got the mouse on the wheel for my dial-up. I got the dial-up. I got the AOL dial-up disc.
How about John Geiger 46 waist slim fit? Wow.
No, but I don't want tonight's episode to deteriorate into some fuck shit. All right, I apologize if Dallas Penn, made it deteriorate like that, because the bigger issue is
Dallas Penn has 2 hamster wheels powering his internet.
I do. I'm still on my dial-up wave. Fuck it. But for real though, have we maxed out? Have we squeezed the motherfucking juice out of this sneaker orange to the point where the shit isn't fresh anymore? This is the shit that people may not want to confront and face through our greed, through corporate greed, and through consumption greed. So,
what's the answer?
It's something that we all got to think of. We all got to consider. We all got to consider that shit. Like, are we buying the shoes that we like, or are we buying just based off hype?
Has the internet ruined the sneaker game?
Nick?
I mean, I don't think so, but I've also used the internet to connect with enough people and meet so many people, you know, like I wouldn't know any of you guys without the internet, you know, like I wouldn't know a lot of really great friends. So I'm kind of biased. Like, you know, it's afforded me a lot of opportunities to do something that I love. Although there's a lot of frustration that comes with that, I don't think that it's ruined it. I think that, you know, you either choose to adapt and figure out how you fit into that picture, or you let go of it, you know. And like you said, Dallas, I think that's a great point. I think, like, you know, there is a certain level of, like, you know, when is this sneaker thing going to end, you know, for a lot of people? Because I would put money on it that we could have this conversation 20 years from now and still be as entertained as we are tonight. But I would definitely, you know, could probably say that most of the people that are watching right now won't care near as much as what they do right now a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And that's kind of, you know, the big difference to me. So.
Mm-hmm.
The homie Sneaker Sensei. Jay, what's up, Jay? Jay says Dallas Penn can play Danny Glover in a biopic. Dallas, what's up with boots this year? You know, Timberland looks like I said this the other day, Timberland looks like they're going with the solid color silhouette. 6 boot, the red, the blue. They're going back to the colors like circa 95, 96. They're going into all the retailers with those colors, and it looks like it's trending for 2015, 2016.
Oh, shit. If Timberland does another white leather, all white leather with color accented thread field boot, then you can definitely say RIP Timberland. But they're teetering towards that. They're teetering towards that. I would have loved Timberland to be able to compete and place in spring and summer season. But how would they do that? They would take like the classic field boot silhouette, but the field boot mid, and give it an all tan nubuck treatment. They do things with their classic boots, but not this outrageous shit. Not this monotone red, monotone navy.
You don't think it's good? The customers responding to it. The shit is selling, and I'll tell you.
I mean, it's interesting, but it's not sustainable.
I think Timberland's riding that wave. That I think Villa was the first one on that. I think the Villa collabs with Timberland are the reason they're going all doors with red and blue and white.
Well, hold on for a second. Before the Villa collab, there was Timberland collaborating with Pharrell, and Pharrell was the one that was pushing them to take like the apple red and cover an entire boot with that.
Well, in 95, 96, they had the forest green, they had the burnt orange, they had the all blue, the all red. They had those solid color 6-inch Timberlands with the double sole and the leather rim. Mm-hmm. They had that back in the mid 90s. They went away from it. It went away for a long time. It was solid 6-inch wheat, 6-inch black. And then they brought it back. They were the Pharrell thing, but I think the Villa collabs and the success of those made the Timberland, because it's about money. We know that, right? It's a business. Right. So right. I think the success of those on a small scale said, because that's how sneaker and footwear executives think, well, we can do this more. And
when you talk about Timberland in the mid 90s, the first thing that comes to my mind is that field boot mid in a white leather with like green contrast stitching and a white leather ankle collar. So like when I think of Timberland in the mid 90s, I think of something that was like 180 degrees from the company that I got familiar with in the 80s.
Do you feel that that's, I mean, I'm not a Timberland guy. You know, like the closest I get to wearing boots is a pair of beater Jordan 3s. But like, I think that's one of those things where like, I'm almost afraid that they're going too far with it, or not too far with it, just depending on it. You know, it's kind of like if it works, like Drew said, there's some executive way up that says, oh, it worked for that. Let's do it across all doors, put it everywhere. Everybody's going to have it. But that takes away from the company that you connected with back then, you know, like, in my opinion. Do you feel that same way?
I mean, partially. I mean, you got to accept it anyway. For a company to grow, they're certainly gonna have to do some things that don't fit my taste, you know. But I mean, I just think overall, I think some of the things that they've been eager to push haven't really been in the space that I feel like, man, this is how you kind of cement yourself. So I feel like they've made some great inroads. I mean, the wheat boot is undeniable. It's a sneaker, in my opinion. In New York City, it's a sneaker. There's a Spanish dude in the Bronx at Orchard Beach playing handball in a wheat boot.
That's real. Are they going to price themselves out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that they're still very competitive.
At $190?
At $190 first retail, but I mean, you know, I don't buy anything first retail anyway. Marshalls is holding them down for $89.99
for the double sole.
Double sole. That's the only boot. Frankly, Timberland produces one that isn't double sole, I don't even consider it. If Timberland produces one that has a double bubble on the collar, on the ankle collar, I don't even consider it. Double sole, single bubble on the ankle collar, classic 161 style number. That's the wheat boot. Listen, Marshalls is holding them down for $89.99. Century 21, another retailer in New York City, holding them down for $99.99. So they're plenty accessible for the people that don't know any better and have to go first retail. That's the price you pay for having to go first retail. You know, what Finish Line is selling them for, that $180, $190. That, you know, that's just the price you have to pay when you don't have no secondary swag in your game.
Lastly, Dallas, before we sign off, for like 55 minutes here. Everybody wants to hear it. I know you've told the story 100 times. The anatomy of the polo jig. It might be your greatest accomplishment on the internet.
Damn. I gotta do better than that. But the truth was, man, it was a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I didn't have my phone and I wasn't on the internet. I was just running around the city, just chilling, doing nothing. When I came back home, I was still chilling, and I didn't open my phone up until about 10 o'clock that night. And I got this email from my dude, and it was like, yo. And I had a flip phone at the time, too. No, I didn't. But anyhow, I got an email from my dude telling me, like, yo, got this employee code for the .com, RL.com site. 65% off on items that just dropped, brand new. So stuff that was just dropping for the spring. 65% off. Crazy. All right, fuck it. It ends at midnight. The email was like, yo, the shit ends at midnight, so get in where you fit in. But he had sent it to me Sunday morning, so I would have had the whole day to beast out. So I got so hyped. I was like, man, there's an hour left. I go on the .com site. I pick out a few things, and it goes through, and I'm like, yo, this is really the realness right here. And I then tweet that. As a matter of fact, I Instagram it with a tweet also. My man hits me up like 10 minutes later and was like, here, take this code instead. Same dude that sent me the email with the employee code sent me another code, which was basically did the same thing, but it did it in the promo section, and you didn't have to enter the RL.com employee site. So then I tweeted that one through Instagram. And then the real truth is that when Just Blaze repopped it, that's when everything took off. That's when the fire took off, because Just Blaze just made it crazy.
Did you get in on the Best Buy gift card jigs?
I mean, you see the TV I got here. I obviously did not. You see my internet connection. I obviously did not. My internet was probably not working that day. But I mean, no, Just Blaze is the cheat code in human form. So if you get him to alley-oop your shit, believe me, he's gonna touch a lot of people. He's gonna pause, and a legit pause on that because he does touch people. He does touch people, you know. But that was the thing. When Just hyped it, it just ran through, and it lasted longer than midnight anyway. So people were able to access the code into that Monday morning. And the beautiful thing was RL.com, for the most part, if you didn't OD, there were people that tried to buy crystal skulls and chandeliers whose orders got blanked, and some people who OD'd in like Purple Label or Double RL. If you OD'd on the really high-end shit, they blanked you. But if you just kind of kept it Blue Label, you bought a bunch of things for your kids, underwear, whatever it was, for the most part, they honored those purchases. And I feel like, man, that was the genius in that for Ralph Lauren, though, was, hey, listen, sell this shit so that you don't have to then sell it to TJ Maxx Corporation. You don't have to take the markdown from a secondary retailer because you already sold the stuff at a price better than the secondary retailer was going to sell it anyway. So,
and you got your brand in the streets.
Oh, without question, you gave the people reparations. Black people been waiting for 400 years to get reparations, but guess what? Ralph Lauren gave us Ralph-arations.
My goodness.
All right, nonsense. But I mean, listen. To be honest with you, I do better right now at Macy's than I did on that 65%. I get 65% off at Macy's, and then I whip out coupons and all kind of other things they got going on, all kind of other promos they got going on. I'm buying things 80% off the MSRP, off the SKU ticket, 80% off of that price, 85% off of that price. I'm just a regular dude going to Macy's winning. So, I mean, Ralph Lauren ultimately better watch out because his stuff might end up in the streets too heavy.
Nick, last question before we shut it down. Give me the genesis behind your obsession with Iversons.
I mean, for one, I don't believe all the stories about Michael Jordan that we're told. Like I think that he was told to retire from the game of basketball because of his gambling problem. There's nothing against him. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of him too. But I kind of always connected with Iverson because I didn't really come from a good place. I didn't have money. I didn't have sneakers until I went out and started making my own money. But to me, it was always like I could relate to him because he's a relatively small dude, just immensely talented, and he could. I always wanted. I look at myself and like I'm never going to be the best in the world at anything that I do. Like I'm just not. I don't have the skills, the physical abilities, whatever that is. But someone like him being 6 foot and going out there and for one night, 2 nights, a handful of nights throughout his career, beating the best in the world, like that was like the attainable. And being able to just do you and be who you are, where, guys like, no shots at him, but like a guy like KD now, for instance, is covered in tattoos under his jersey. And there's something to be said about Iverson just being like, hey, fuck it, I'm going to have my mom braid my hair while I'm on the bench. I mean, to me, that's like the ultimate sign of like, okay, I just going to do my thing regardless of who's telling me what I can and can't do. And, like it was kind of just like, that's, always how I connected to him. He just seemed like the realest dude out there. And yet he wasn't like he wasn't like a LeBron where he's, 6'6" and, just ridiculously oversized and over talented. But yeah, that's kind of how it ended up. And really going back to the other subjects, that's kind of how my shouts to Matt Welty, my NT denim started. I just was like, hey, fuck it, AI is wearing baggy shit, so I'm wearing baggy shit, and I mean it's kind of continued all through. Like, that's just who I connected with, really.
But Nick, do you have with your Iverson collection? Do you have do-rags also? Matching do-rags?
I do not have do-rags. I did have a do-rag back in the day.
No, Nick, you need to go and pick up some do-rags now and put them with all your AI joints for real. Match them up.
I've got some interesting stuff. I've got some bracelets. I've got some finger sweatbands that they used to have. I've got all that dumb stuff that, you know, like if I ever wanted to dress exactly like AI, I just need an artist to draw the tattoos on me to match, and I can be AI for Halloween.
We're gonna end with first of all, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. We're gonna end with Dallas Penn getting a Dallas Penn float at the Macy's Day Parade. Might have been the best comment I saw tonight. and Dallas Penn 2020. Dallas, you gonna run for president?
Fuck no. All right, I've done too many drugs. I don't want that to come out. I've also had sex with animals, and I want to keep those things private, except for everyone that's fucking with the sit down tonight. Y'all know. Y'all take that to y'all graves for real. But I fucks with y'all internets. I fucks with y'all.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey guys, thanks again. Thanks again for joining us. Nick, thank you for an hour of your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for your Earthlink internet connection. Everyone who watched last week, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Next week, the 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd, 10 p.m. Eastern, I'm gonna sit down with John Geiger, and we're gonna really get into some stuff. We're gonna talk about the zips and the misplaced checks. We're gonna talk about everything going on. We're gonna get into detail. It's gonna be a good one. I would say definitely tune in. I think John has a lot to say, and I think he's gonna surprise some people. I think he's got an awful lot to say. So next week, 10 o'clock Tuesday, to sit down. Everyone who isn't subscribed, please do. I don't really care whether you hit the like button or not, but just share it, get the show out there. We want to keep pressing on. We need to get more people watching and supporting and fucking with the sit down, because we're gonna try and tell some more stories. We told some stories tonight. Corgi told some last week. John's definitely gonna tell some. We're gonna do some storytelling. We're gonna talk some shit and do what we do. So thanks for everybody who hung in there for an hour. I appreciate it. Nick, thank you very much. Dallas and Tribe behind you, thank you all.
Based Nick, Don Drew, thank you. Based